Live from Orlando, Florida, you're listening to the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, the voice of Magic fans. Join us every week for a unique fan perspective on all of the latest Magic news and updates. The show starts now.
What's up, Magic fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network and Bet Online. We're your host, Al, myself, Anthony. Today is Friday, August 16th. And, man, if you're a big wrestling fan, Friday Night SmackDown is going to be in the Kia Center, which I'm excited about, man. It's my first wrestling match. First one. Never seen it live. Kind of got right back into it. Growing up, I was a big The Rock fan, and all his little promotions that he was doing leading up to this past year's WrestleMania drew me back in. So now I'm back to being a wrestling fan, which I'm excited about. And the fact that SmackDown is going to be in the Kia Center, I'm super excited. If anybody has ever watched it, right? You don't necessarily have to be watch week to week, but there's been a lot of moments this past year where a lot of NBA players have been involved in a showing, right? So we've seen Tyrese Halliburton, we've seen Jalen Brunson. So we this is something that they've done regularly. I'm hoping that we see somebody from the Magic in some capacity in there somewhere, whether it be Paulo, whether it be I don't know, Cole Anthony. I think Cole Anthony would probably be, like, if I was a betting man, he would be the one guy that I can kind of see being out there. But regardless, man, if you're gonna be out there, you see me, flag me down, say what's up. I'm excited. Al, what's going on, man? It's been a minute, man. We haven't recorded in a little while, so it feels good to finally be on the mic and chop it up with you.
Yeah, man, it's been a couple of weeks, but hey, man, I'm excited. I didn't know you were going on Friday night, so that's exciting. Definitely have a blast. So if you're going again tonight, you're a Magic fan, you see Anthony walking around, make sure you say what's up. And just thinking here, Mo Wagner might be a good Magic representative too. All the trash talking he does, he's a good kind of. He embodies that bad guy persona, I guess. He doesn't mind it, so I wouldn't think he would be a bad fit.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That'd be pretty cool, especially because, like, it's not like how wrestling was, like, back in the day. Because back in the day, you had the Undertaker, you had Kane, you have all the Big Show, you had all these larger than life, massive human beings, 6'8", 6'9", 7 foot tall. There's not too many of that. There's like maybe one or two, and they're not really like the bigger names, right? And not saying that there aren't any 6'5", 6'6", but man, you put Franz Wagner out there, Franz Wagner and Paulo, they're towering over a lot of these wrestling guys. So if the Magic wanted to get involved and create havoc, they can definitely do that, man. I personally would love to see it, and if that happens, I'm going ballistic. I'm letting you know right now. Don't judge me if you see me. I'm getting hyped. But it'd be cool. The many times I've gone to the Kia Center, obviously a majority of it have been, towards Magic games. If you know me, you know I'm a big J. Cole fan, so I've gone to about 100 different J. Cole concerts at the Kia Center. I think I maybe have gone to one Kevin Hart show, but outside of that, that's all I've seen at the Kia Center. So I'm excited to see what my home arena looks like in a wrestling capacity. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a blast. It sounds like a blast, so make sure you enjoy it.
Yep. All right, so let's get into Magic talk. So in today's episode, we're gonna touch a little bit on Team Germany. Obviously the Olympics are finally over. Team USA winning gold. And we're going to kind of share our thoughts because there's rumblings and rumors. There was a report coming out that, Paulo is a person that Grant Hill is looking to add in the future. And then the Orlando Magic, man, new slogan. We'll jump into that. And then there's an agent out there that's being very vocal when it comes to a specific player for the Orlando Magic. So we're going to get into those details in just a moment. But before we do, Just a quick word from our sponsor, BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. From the preseason NFL college kicking off, BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Get in on the winner-take-all 300,000 NFL Survivor pool for the upcoming season. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. I'm terrible with all of those. But head to our website today and use promo code BELIEVE and get it in on the Action Bet Online. The game starts here. So it's awesome that we're recording today's episode because a lot of things happen for us to talk about, because we felt like these past weeks there's really nothing going on outside of the Olympics. But it was announced that 3 p.m. Thursday, the new release of the schedule is out, so we know exactly what the Magic layout, what the path is for what I'm calling it a redemption year to kind of further advance past the first round. So I before we get into all the other topics that we discussed, I do want to talk about the schedule. At first glance, when you looked at the schedule, what really stood out to you? What do you like? What do you not like? The Magic have some nationally televised games, so there's a lot to be excited about. So what really grabbed your eye?
So I'll ask a quick question. So we ended up getting 5 national TV games. So actually, these are actual ESPN, TNT games. So again,
not NBA TV.
Yep. So we had 4 NBA TV and then 5 actual national televised. So if you want to count those also, 9 in total.
Not bad.
It is, however, the lowest amongst all playoff teams from last year. So
of course,
good, but still not good enough. So let me ask you that. 5 national TV games. Was that over or under what you expected?
Honestly, I've gotten to a point where I'm numb to it. I'm surprised that we got this many. It's going from like 1 to 5 is like, whoa. All right, we're getting a little traction is the way that I see it. So I'm excited about the 5. I really am, because I'm expecting for the Magic to get back into the playoffs like we all are and make even more noise. So, that televised number game is definitely going to go up. And then when you look at it, 2 games on ESPN, 3 games on TNT. The one thing that I would say is that they're very strategic in regards to, kind of checking the box on the opponents, right? Mm-hmm. You take a look at our first nationally televised game is going to be on November 1st against Cleveland on ESPN, then followed by the Knicks, Oklahoma City, Boston, and Cleveland. And these are teams that the Magic have kind of created some level of extra competition, a little bit of chaos. Obviously that maybe more so the casual person would want to tune in even more so, right? Because you take a look at, 2 nationally televised games against Cleveland. You can kind of view that as the national TV trying to create like a rivalry showing, because the casual watch, the casual fan has already seen this matchup, and the last time that they saw this matchup was in a Game 7 series that really went to the wire. So I can understand that standpoint. The back and forth fight that we've had with Boston, I can see that also. OKC, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Suggs, Paulo Banchero, like there's a list of dynamic that's on there, which I'm happy that we got them on national TV, because they stomped us the last time that happened, right? So there's an opportunity for redemption there. And then, man, the Knicks. Now, I didn't get a chance to look. That December 3rd game against the Knicks, is that home or away?
That is in New York. So, on the road. Okay.
So I personally love it. Like, give us that game in Madison Square Garden away on TNT. I will take that easy, because that's a game that obviously is nationally televised. You're going to highlight it. I'm excited for it because big things happen in MSG. People go off. Cole Anthony, go off.
And not only that,
go off.
Not only that, but keep in mind that it's actually going to be our last NBA Cup game. So it has extra meaning because, again, it could be a qualifying games for us. So Really, really cool game to see again in New York. So I agree with you. I'm actually excited for that one, probably the most out of all the ones that we have on the list.
Yeah, 7 of the Magic's first 9 games are on the road with a 5-game road trip early in the season. Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, OKC, Indiana. Overall, the Magic play 16 of their first 25 games on the road. I was looking online, shout out to Adam Papagiorgio, who I guess was watching ESPN, and highlighted the fact that out of all the playoff teams, the Orlando Magic have one of the hardest schedules. So nothing given, right? Nothing's being handed to us. We're gonna have to go out there. We're gonna have to earn it. We're gonna have to prove people wrong. This whole thing, like there's no help. There's no support on our side, right? We're gonna have to scratch, crawl, fight to be able to be in the position that we want to be. Nothing's going to come easy. And honestly, I think the Magic, from a long run perspective, will be better for it. I'll take this first 16 games, or 16 out of the 25 on the road. Let's get that out of the way now. Is it going to be tough? 100%. Not ideal, but it is what it is. That's kind of just how the cards lay out, and we got to make sure that we're prepared, we're healthy. That's the one thing that I would at least say is a huge benefit of it, right? If we're looking at 16 of the 25 right off the back, we're going into the season, knock on wood, with an extremely healthy team. And if you're going to be on the road a lot in that manner, why not do it when you know that the team is going to be healthy? Not in the middle of the season, not at the end. I'll take it.
And don't forget, again, a big part of this is going to be having that chemistry, right? Like this team is nearly identical to last year with the addition of KCP and a rookie. But outside of that, it's the same team as last year, pretty much. So chemistry should be there for our team. So when we go to the road, 16 of the first 25, that's actually going to make us even a stronger team. So overall, I think this schedule reminds me a lot of last year. So it starts really tough in the beginning. We have a lot of road games. We then come back home for Christmas, a nice homestand, right around Christmas to New Year's. And then we go again to a really, really tough end of December into January. And then things kind of ease up a little bit after the All-Star break. We actually have a nice homestand after the All-Star break. And then we end the season on the road. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of last year's schedule, where we have to kind of prove ourselves early on, tough opponents, a lot of road games. But then towards the end, after the All-Star break, we come back home. We should be in a good position to end the season strong. So I think I like the build-up. Again, it reminds me a lot of last year. So if we can stay healthy, number one, if we can play up to our level now, we're no longer going to be, surprising young team anymore. People will know we're a good team now. Can we step up, and handle business? That's the key. So we'll see what happens. I do like the layout, like I said, but it's not going to be easy. To your point, Anthony, toughest schedule, strength of schedule amongst all playoff teams last year, as Adam mentioned on Twitter. So it's going to be tough. But again, that's, I think, what we want. We want to show to people that we were not a fluke last year, and we can repeat our success back-to-back years.
Yep, the Magic have 13 back-to-backs. We had 15 last year. We'll play 4 home back-to-backs, 2 and 3 of the cursed home-away back-to-backs, including 1 after the home opener, which is Orlando to Memphis. So it is what it is. We want the smoke. Bring it. Bring the competition. And we're not shying away, man. Could we have wanted, or could we have had a better schedule? 100%, right? But it is what it is. This is what we got, and there's no changing, right? And that's kind of just how it is, man. It's how the cookie crumbles. So shout out to Josh Cohen, who I wish that we can sit here and say, man, we deep dive and we did all this research, and that wasn't the case. So shout out to Josh Cohen, who gave us a summary of all the schedules. All right, so excited for that. Now let's get into the Olympic talk. So unfortunately, Germany did not medal, right? They ended up playing for the bronze against Serbia. Serbia ended up winning. You got France that got silver, Team USA that got gold. Crazy final game for Team USA. Steph Curry went absolutely insane, man. It was so beautiful to watch. Insane.
That was wild.
Insane. It was awesome. So I'll bring it to you this way. So Franz Wagner, who obviously really struggled shooting from behind the 3-point line, which is something that we were really hoping that he would shake off, right? During the offseason, still struggled, in international play. So you would have to mentally prepare yourself that, unfortunately, it may carry over. It's not what anybody wants to hear. I'm sorry, but prepare for it. But outside of that, Franz Wagner, he did make second team all team, Olympics. So definitely some recognition there. He had some crazy highlights. This is somebody that was fierce, man. He impacted his game and got some really crazy recognition from Dwayne Wade, which was awesome. But what were your thoughts on the overall aspect of Franz Wagner in Germany?
I mean, I really was hoping that they would pull it off and get a medal some way, somehow. Silver, bronze, gold, anything. Unfortunately, they started super strong, man. They won their first 4 games. They seemed like one of the favorites heading into the quarterfinals. And unfortunately, after the beatdown they put on France, they could not repeat that in the quarterfinals. And then Serbia, who was playing amazing basketball, they almost beat the USA in the quarterfinals. They ended up actually beating Germany also there. So they ended up leaving the World Cup. In my opinion, a disappointment. I think they were destined to get a medal, and they didn't. Would have been amazing. That would have been the first one for Germany in their history in the basketball tournament. So that would have been amazing for Franz, for Mo. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Plenty of growth for the team. So I think in years to come, they'll definitely get something. But it just sucks that it couldn't happen this year. Also for Franz, after, the tough Game 7 he had last year, getting paid a max contract, some criticism from people in the media saying that he didn't deserve that contract. It would have been nice to say, hey, you're doing all this talking, but yet here I am backing it up by winning this medal for my country. And also, by the way, playing well. Like you mentioned, the only red flag, really, the shooting, right? So he did amazing. Yeah. He played incredible basketball, winning plays left and right defensively, grabbing big rebounds, making tough shots when it mattered. Franz being Franz. Unfortunately, though, the shooting, it's a bit concerning. He has 2 months here before the season starts, so plenty of time to figure things out. But that 25% from three-point range, a bit alarming if you ask me. So hopefully he can clean that up before the year starts. But outside of that, man, he did amazing. Germany played really solid basketball. They got to be proud of what they accomplished. Again, just wish they could have ended up with a medal some way, somehow.
Yeah, I really thought it was gonna be Germany versus USA. Fortunately, that's just not the way that it rolled out. It would have been awesome for obviously Germany to win the bronze against Serbia. I think that would have obviously been huge for the country of Germany. But if Franz Wagner would have won the bronze medal, would then he adopt the nickname Bronze Wagner away from like Tristan da Silva?
It's funny you mention that.
Wouldn't that make more sense, right?
That crossed my mind for a second if they would have won that game, but thankfully
you would have to call him Bronze Wagner. At that point, Tristan da Silva can no longer bear the nickname that was given to him by the fan base. Like it just wouldn't make sense. I was really hoping that would be the case because that really wasn't a nickname that I was too fond of, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that would have been interesting for sure. So I guess it all worked out in the end.
Yeah. All right, man. Olympics is over. No basketball for a minute, man. So luckily we did have the Olympics to kind of hold us off a little bit longer. But now we're at this dry spell where, it's just no basketball for a minute. However, we got some news today. Magic Together is no longer. The Orlando Magic announced a new marketing brand slogan. Make it magic. # make it magic. So I kind of feel like we're on opposite spectrums of how we feel about this new slogan. So I'm going to pass it off to you first.
I'll tell you what.
Make it magic.
When I first saw it this morning and it kind of started being promoted by the social media account by the Magic, I felt kind of iffy about it. Like, well, what is it about? What does it mean? I don't know. As the day has passed, it's kind of been growing on me a little bit more. Mainly because I'm actually reading a book which was by Pat Williams. Making Magic, that's the name of the book. So I am wondering if there was some connection here. We know, unfortunately, that Pat Williams passed away. We discussed it in the last episode. I wonder if Make It Magic has anything to do with Making Magic, which is the book that Pat Williams wrote, describing how the Magic became a thing, how they came to Orlando, how they ended up getting an NBA team here. So if that is the reason why, it would be even cooler in my eyes. But I would say overall it's growing on me. I'm not 100% sold yet, but I'm liking it. What about you?
Yeah, so I liked it. I personally felt like it was time to move on from Magic Together. Magic Together, I remember the backlash from a lot of people in the fan base that when they came out with Magic Together, they weren't a fan of it. I remember it. People felt like it was too commercial or it was too Disney-like, Disney-friendly. Like there was a lot of negativity when it came out to the release of Magic Together, and eventually it got to a point that everyone was just with it, right? Everyone was behind it, utilized it. We accepted it. Here's what I really enjoyed about Magic Together. It's the fact that it really felt like, in my opinion, this might sound cheesy, cliche, whatever. It felt like the fan base was a part of it, right? When you're going out to battle, it's not just the team, it's the fan support as well. Like it really, I felt like that brought everyone together. As simple as a hashtag could be, a slogan could be, I felt that. With Make It Magic, I'm curious to see what the promotion is really going to look like with it. But I will say I do like it. I like Make It Magic. It sounds, to me, it feels like there's a little more swagger to it, which I greatly appreciate. Make It Magic, Stanley Swanson in our group chat, I think he said it best. Like you can literally use it for anything and everything. Mm-hmm. Make it magic. It's creating our identity, our swagger. It's creating. I know the Magic front office hate this word, but it's creating our culture. So the way that we play our brand of basketball, we're making that magic, right? So that's the way that I view it, and I like it, man. I thought it was cool when I heard it. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it. Now what's interesting is the way that the logo and the image of it. They had the star that looks a little different than what our normal branding would be. So it definitely makes you question, what's the direction that the Orlando Magic are going? Are we looking towards a new rebrand, which would make sense if we have a brand new slogan, if now we're more solidified in the space where the expectation is now making the playoffs, and now we have more nationally televised games. If the Magic are going to do a rebrand, it's a perfect time to do it. So I'm all for making Magic. I would love to see what the promos are going to look like for it.
I will tell you, that was my favorite thing. It was that redesigned logo, the star. It's a lot cleaner, kind of more modern. We'll see. It's intriguing. We've heard the rumors about a rebrand coming at some point. I don't think it's going to be this year, but I do think we're getting very, very close. And I wonder if this is phase one of that rebrand. Like, all right, we're now introducing this new star design, new font, really, because the font is a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. So I guess more to come on that. But again, I think it is a preview of what's to come, perhaps next offseason. We'll see.
Yeah, you think about all the other ones, Pure Magic, Magic Together, Magic Above All. Make It Magic. To me, out of all of them, easily have the most swagger out of all of them. So I think it's a total upgrade. So I don't know, man. I think that maybe on social media we should probably do a poll just to kind of get a grasp of the fan base and how they feel. I can read off some of the comments just to kind of get a gist of how other people feel about it. This person, Callus Bordeaux, bro, we've been asking for an OG jersey since like 2008. Just give us those. Just give us that.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Please.
We have SJ Ostrom 3, making magic or creating magic would be better. but Make It Magic is better than Magic Together, in my opinion. I would agree. We got Mac9790 who says he loves it. Orlando Meme Magic. I like Magic Together, though. This one's worse, in my opinion. Famous Atticus, well, it's better than Magic Together. And then we'll just read one more. It's definitely an upgrade from Magic Together. We need to leave everything from the Vooch era behind. That's from C_Fry. And I couldn't agree more. New era, man. Franz, Paulo, KCP, Jalen Suggs. Like, this is a new vision of Orlando Magic basketball. And I'm with it, man. I'm with it. Make it magic.
It was needed. It was needed. So I'm glad that they finally decided to pull the trigger on it. Let's see what's next. I think the next big news that we're expecting now is the City Edition jerseys, which should be revealed here at some point between now and September, maybe. So yeah, that's the next step. It's to see the new jerseys for next season, and then we are off pretty much. Again, we have another 7 weeks to go before training camp, so we're almost there.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about this this agent that's talking a lot about, in our opinion, maybe some private talks that shouldn't be out there. It should be a little more secluded from the public ears. Mike Miller has made some comments, man, and not one, not two, too many, in my opinion. He's on a podcast with Haslam. I think it's the OG something, whatever it is. It's a Miami Heat podcast, so I don't pay too much attention. I only see the clips. But he made a comment in regards to contract signings. I think Gilbert Arenas was also part of that discussion. They were talking about Victor Wembanyama's contract, and it kind of alluded to where it transitioned to Mike Miller talking about dollars of what Paulo's next contract would be. So my question to you is, does that bother you that maybe some private discussions from Mike Miller, who's his agent, is coming out into the open?
So I think the part that's kind of confusing to all of us as Magic fans when we first heard about it was that he mentioned, I just got done, I forgot the exact word, but it was amongst the lines of wrapping up Paulo's next contract. And it's going to be starting at $55 million, which, like I tweeted it to you actually on X yesterday, that's public information. We can figure that out ourselves. If we know some cap information, we can do the math. He's going to get 25% of the cap. We can figure that out ourselves. That's not that bad. The part that's a little confusing is, what do you mean by I just got done, doing Paulo's contract? Because that cannot be happening until next offseason. So what's happening there? So I'm going to just assume that what he meant was that he actually got done calculating, having a meeting with Paulo, saying, hey, man, another great year. This is what we're looking at. You're going to be starting at $55 million. So let's do our best, get back to the playoffs, get back to the All-Star game, lock in that max contract. I'm hoping that's what he meant. But again, the way he made it sound was a little bit different. And you can also, if you haven't watched the clip, he tries to backtrack. And then he ends up apologizing to Paulo. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to throw that out there. I'm not here to talk about his money. So it slipped up. He definitely didn't mean to kind of throw it out there, but he did. So as an agent, a NBA agent who has some high level clients, you got to be a little more careful. So that's one thing. So I'll let you respond to those comments. Then we'll talk about the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a world where even if that was the case, where it's not necessarily a they've already had discussions with the front office, and he was just doing his own calculations. The wording was a little weird, man, to the point that you at least question it. And if you question it, then that creates dialogue, and two guys with a podcast end up talking about it on their show. So it's just one of those things where it's unnecessary. How does that necessarily benefit Paolo Banchero, right? And that's not the first time. They were talking about the offseason moves for the Orlando Magic, and about how we got KCP, but that was enough. When is the right time for us to kind of put all our chips in and get something bigger? Like it's when he's talking on this show, there's been moments where, and you had mentioned it, off air, where he's using the words "we" a lot, and "we" is him and Paulo Banchero. So again, private conversations are coming out publicly. You're a sports agent, but you're also talking about it on your podcast. There's no way that the front office is good with that. There's no way, because we know that the Magic front office, they don't operate that way. Paulo Banchero, I'm sure he doesn't want that. If he's not happy with the offseason moves, like, first off, relax. This is year 3, all right? There's going to be a point in time where he's going to be able to have a bigger voice in decision makings, and I'm sure that may happen a lot sooner than what we're really prepared for. But also, like, Weltman, that dude's a G, man. He said it from the very beginning when he was hired. Like, I'm the president of basketball operations. The final say-so is mine. It's not Alex Martin's. It's me. And nobody's going to punk him around. We already seen that from all his negotiations that he's done from a contract standpoint. But I'm sure that this is not anything that they're okay with. And I don't know, man. I would hope that Mike Miller is very careful with the things that he says. When it comes to occupation, like, sports agent is first. That's your main priority. You're talking about the rookie of the year, future superstar Paulo Banchero that you're representing, and you're on a podcast with, Haslam, talking about things that, in my opinion, shouldn't be said, especially if you're speaking on behalf of a player who's under contract. You don't want to hurt that relationship, because what he can say could be taken out of context easily.
And I think that's the danger, right? Because now any of these media companies, ESPN, whoever it may be, can do a clickbait article all of a sudden saying, hey, Paulo unhappy with Magic moves. And now that creates drama around the team, the locker room. 100%. Is it real? Is it not? We end up talking about it like we're doing right now. No need for that, right? So again, for those who didn't watch the interview, pretty much she was asked, what were your thoughts on the Magic offseason? And Shams was on the podcast with them. Shams gave it a green light. He said Magic did the right moves, did the right things by adding KCP. And then he said, yeah, we were happy. Again, here we go with the we term. We were happy with the moves. Paulo was happy. We were in Seattle when this happened. But then he kind of insinuates they could have done more. When is it going to be time to add shooting? And then Shams is like, wait, KCP is one of the best shooters out there and defenders. So they kind of solved that. And they drafted a good shooter in the draft too. Yeah, but and that's when he starts throwing the conversation about like throwing the chips on the table. When can we, it gives this idea of like they want a big move. But again, the big word here is we. You're not putting Paulo in the middle of all this. So I agree with you. I think he needs to know how to have a podcast where he can talk about anything he wants, except things that have to do with, his clients. John Morant, another one of his clients. Paulo, like, those are things that cannot come out in the public because, again, you're putting your players at risk. You're, again, creating conflict that shouldn't be happening or possible conflict. So I agree with you 100%. Shouldn't be happening. Needs to be careful because a lot of Magic fans on Twitter after this came out were saying those things like, oh, man, like I don't like Mike Miller as an agent for Paulo. I don't like the direction of this. So it creates, again, conflict that we don't need to be dealing with on Paulo's year 3.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a little dangerous because you can kind of rewind it a little bit. When the Orlando Magic won the number 1 pick in Paulo's draft, we remember seeing the clip of, Mike Miller shaking Coach Moses' hand saying, hey, I got a guy for you, right? But at the same time, it's like when we were going through all these different workouts, Paulo Banchero did not come to Orlando. Like, it just didn't happen. We don't know the reasons why. What was said is because, maybe Paulo Banchero didn't really think that he was really going number 1. That was a story that was created. But we don't necessarily know the reasons why. Like, how much is Mike Miller really meddling? Which I would imagine is a whole lot because, Paulo Banchero is still learning the industry. Like, you don't become an expert, after 2 years. Mike Miller's really leading it. Paulo Banchero has already publicly came out in an article talking about, I would like somebody that can help and lead and set the table. Like he's already asking for give me a point guard, right? So now what we're hearing from a fan base perspective is, well, we didn't do that. So Paulo Banchero now as we would assume is, well, you can't be happy about that because now he's gonna have to handle the basketball a little bit more. Can Jalen Suggs really develop into being a better ball handler and really running that point guard? Like it becomes unnecessary,
Exactly.
conversations that shouldn't happen out in the public, right? And to me, that's, I don't know. Is Mike Miller influencing that? We question it. I question it. Like Paulo Banchero has never, granted 2 years, like he's never insinuated him being that type of person that's already starting, right? So I don't know. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. Not happy that he's already been vocal on podcasts about it. Like it's just unnecessary. Rich Paul isn't doing any of that. No other sports agent is doing that. But yet you got Mike Miller, who's a former Orlando Magic player, who's doing it on behalf of Paulo, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, he's got to clean up that act some way, somehow. Again, understand the role, right? You're an NBA agent. You got to be careful. Some of these things, again, cannot be said publicly. Should be basic knowledge, but apparently it's not so clear just yet for Mike Miller. So hopefully that will change. And I mean, don't even get me started on the whole, like, let's say the NBA expands and Seattle becomes a team. Oh my goodness, that's not going to end. So yeah, hopefully we don't have to deal with this too much longer.
Yeah, but it's a concern, and it's starting to feel more and more real. So we'll see what ends up happening. We really, it's hopefully at that point we're giving Paulo Banchero so much more money. Like here's the thing, right? All right, cool. You go on the podcast and you say, we're calculating 55 million, whatever, right? But we know this. We know that Paulo Banchero is going to get a max. Like there's no secret behind it. Like obviously the money could fluctuate depending on all NBA and different aspects that can kind of create the larger contract and whatnot. But why even mention it? Why? It's unnecessary. It really is.
There's no need for it. No need for it.
And I know that we were going to talk about, so before we wrap up, what are your thoughts on Grant Hill coming out and saying, or not necessarily coming out and saying, but it was reported that Grant Hill views Paulo Banchero as a player he'd want to represent the Team USA in future Olympics?
I'll tell you what, man, I think he should have been there this year. I think, no disrespect to Derek White, who ended up not really playing much. I think Paulo could have been that guy. He went last year to the World Cup. He represented the U.S. I think he deserved it this year, to be honest with you. Why he didn't, I don't know. But 2028 in L.A., I can guarantee you, if Paulo continues to stay healthy and play good basketball, he's going to be there for sure for Team USA. Duke guy, Nike/Jordan guy. He'll be there some way, somehow. But I really believe he should have made it this year as it is. But again, I truly expect it to happen in 2028.
Yeah, so it's to me, the first thing I think about is Grant Hill being, part of the brotherhood, right? But also I feel like it's just been, Duke has not had a they haven't had any benefits of the Team USA and Grant Hill being the guy that's running it. Kyrie Irving didn't even get a tryout. Jason Tatum didn't get barely. He led the team with DNPs, right? Like,
yep.
I think it was like 2 games, right? Paulo Banchero didn't even get, because I personally thought, and obviously I'm biased, I really thought that, and the same as a report where it said Paulo Banchero was under serious consideration for the Paris Olympics. I thought Paulo Banchero made all the sense in the world. You start planting seeds for the future, even if he was the guy that was getting DNPs, being able to be in the same locker room with Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards and LeBron James, Steph Curry, like I felt like that would have been a really, really good experience for him. Especially because we knew he wasn't going to be playing like Franz Wagner minutes. Like we just knew that. But I think it would be absolutely huge. So hopefully there is some of that, because being able to have a player representing on Team USA from your team, in my opinion, is huge. We've seen some of that benefit already from him playing from the World Cup. So I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think it's a matter of time. But again, it would have been nice this year. Would have already had, an Olympic gold medal in his pocket as a young guy that just made the All-Star game. Again, I didn't expect him to play at all, I think, in this Olympics, but just the experience would have been great. The only risk I always think about is, guys getting injured. Like even Franz, every time I watch them play, I'm like, please don't get hurt, please don't get hurt. That was my mindset every single game, just because, again, the season is so close. The last thing you need is a bad ankle injury or knee injury, heading to the new season. We survived it. So that was my only thing about Paulo not playing. I'm actually excited that he got to rest, work on his game, on his craft. But at the same time, it would have been a really, really cool experience.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so dates to circle on your calendar: September 30th, Media Day. October 1st, training camp will start. October 7th, first preseason game. And then big, bold marker, October 21st, last day for the Orlando Magic to agree to a contract extension with Jalen Suggs. All right, so, man, not a whole lot going on. We're going to try and be as consistent as possible, but we still have a little vacation time throughout the summer, so we may not be dropping an episode every single week, but still a lot of content from Steven and the close-up and BJ dropping some YouTube videos and spaces, and our spaces guys working live on Bleacher Report. So there's a lot of Orlando Magic HQ content that's out there and on the way, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And on that note, man, it's a wrap. Happy that we were finally able to connect and get another podcast out. I feel like it's been way, way too long, but we still get a little of the off season to enjoy before we're back at it 100% full time. Episode today was presented by Bet Online. It's a wrap. Catch you guys soon.
For all the latest Magic news and updates, visit OrlandoMagicHQ.com and follow us on Instagram at Orlando Magic HQ and on Twitter at OMagicHQ. Also, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform.